Hey, welcome back. We'll be making chicken pot pie tonight. My kid asked me last night, my son asked me last night if I could make chicken pot pie for dinner tonight. And I said, sure, why not? I actually had something else planned to do a video for, but my kids ask me to make something. I generally try to accommodate them. Now, full disclosure, I don't really make chicken pot pie very often. I mean, I've made it a handful of times in my life. And so the recipe that I use may change from time to time. I mean, honestly, I couldn't even tell you the last time I made it. But someone who does make chicken pot pie very frequently is my mother. And my mother, in my opinion, makes the very best chicken pot pie. So I called her last night and I said, Mom, what's your recipe? So she just kind of walked me through it. It's pretty simple, not too complicated. But we've got everything that we need right here to make it. We've got our chicken stock. We've got our mixed vegetables, the kind that you would buy frozen to make like a soup. We have diced pimentos. I actually had those. I cheated a little bit. I went ahead and just used a pie crust. You can make your own pie, whatever. Obviously, diced chicken, a little bit of butter, and on top of it, you can use phyllo dough, whatever. You can make your own dough. I've got puff pastry, so I'm just going to use that. I kind of just used a lot of what I have around the house, and I asked her. So I've got my stock going right now. It's actually at a boil. I wanted to kind of have that ready when I started this video, so you can actually see the steam coming out. So that's this chicken stock right here. So I'm going to start slowly adding my roux in. I made my roux last night. General rule is cold roux, hot base. Cold base, hot roux. So I generally like to use a cold roux. That just goes back to a chef that I used to work for. And, obviously you can just do whatever you want, but they're like in little chunks now. I cut them up almost like little ice cubes. So I'm gonna just kind of slowly incorporate these until this is kind of a sauce type texture. Imagine it's like I'm turning this into a gravy. Okay, so I'm just gonna kind of keep adding these in. This thing is gonna keep boiling. And this is going to thicken up pretty quickly. So you want to make sure, I'm probably not going to use all of these. I've got 6 of these blocks. I've thrown 2 in. I mean, this will probably might be plenty right here. You just have to kind of see how it goes. These, like I said, I pulled these out of the refrigerator. They're cold. So I'm sticking a cold roux into a hot base. And like I said, I'm going to bring this to it would be kind of the consistency of gravy. So that's the best thing I can use to describe it. Okay. So it's still thickening up a little bit. Got the heater on all the way up. It is thickening up, I can tell right now. So I'm going to keep adding them in there. I might add all 6, I don't really know. But my mom gave me this recipe last night. I kind of just, she adds a warm roux into a cold base, so I asked her if it really mattered, and I know the answer to that question. It doesn't, but anyway, it's just preference. It's just my preference. It's not anything to do with wanting to be thinking I'm right or somebody else is wrong. This is just the way I learned. And I've always kind of stuck with this. This is, like I said, this sauce, this is thickening up quite a bit. Add another one in. We're going to keep adding. We might add all 6 of these in. I don't really know. But I know one thing. If I add all 6 of them in, it will be thick. And like I said, the consistency of this, you can kind of get to like a gravy. I know probably this is the boring part of the video where you're just watching me whisk. But it really is important whenever you're making a stock, when you're making a soup or a sauce or something like that, to really kind of stand over it. And you've added some kind of thickening agent, whether it be I generally use 2. I use, like I said, a cold roux, or sometimes in a pinch, I will use a slurry. And that's a combination of water and cornstarch. Don't use that a whole lot. Actually, I used it recently when I was making a coulis sauce. It just wasn't reducing fast enough, so I needed to get it down to temp. So I went ahead and introduced it. I'm going to go ahead and throw these last 2 in. Might as well. I mean, who knows what this is going to be? I need this to thicken up, and I need to thicken up quickly. So we're going to get this in here. Like I said, this is going to be, we've got all of our roux in it, every bit of it. The nice thing about making a roux, especially if you're doing cold roux, is that the combination of flour and butter are equal parts. So yesterday I made, it was 8 tablespoons, half a cup of butter, half a cup of flour. So mixed it together, you know, it's almost like a pasty mixture. Throw it in a container, throw it in the refrigerator, let it kind of chill overnight. And it's there. I mean, it's there. I'm going to put a little bit of salt and pepper in this just because, you know, I definitely want this to have some seasoning to it. I'm not going to add any other seasonings to it because she told me she did. So this is, like I said, it's a thick gravy consistency. This will probably thicken up more. You can see right here. It's still thin, but it's, like I said, it's getting to gravy consistency. All right, so the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and throw my vegetables in. All right, go ahead and throw all the vegetables in. This was I'm not sure how big the package was, but it was a lot. So we're going to go ahead and throw our vegetables in. And now that's really starting to thicken up. Yep, there you are. All right, so we're going to thicken that up, and now I'm going to throw my chicken in. I didn't let my chicken cool. It's okay. I didn't prep this really very well today. I got home from work and I went ahead and just like started, I don't know, I just was watching a baseball game, and before I knew it was like 5 o'clock, and I was like, oh, I need to start working on dinner because this is going to take a minute. All right, and the last thing I'm going to add the diced pimentos. All right, I was actually pretty surprised that it had these here. Anyway, all right, so we're going to let that kind of just simmer for a second, and that's your kind of your chicken pot pie base right here. You can see it's really nice. It's just gonna, it's starting to really thicken up. So then you can put the top on it, see what happens there. All right, so now we've got our pie crust, and real simple. Got our pie crust. We've got a little bit of butter. Obviously, you could make a pie crust if you want. I had it in the freezer, so I'm kind of hitting the easy button tonight. There's nothing wrong with buying a pie crust. I mean, you know, I work in a commercial kitchen where we buy a lot of things that are already pre-made. I mean, it's just, you know, nobody wants to sit there and watch me make that. I've made pie crust before. You know, I don't really find it to be all that exciting. You know, it's just what it is. All right, so there's the pie crust. We've hit it with some butter. So now we're going to go ahead and pour our mixture in. And I can just tell right off the bat that this mixture is going to be a little bit too much for my pie crust. There's no way all this is going to fit in there. So it'll be fine. We'll freeze it and use it for something else. All right, so we're going to go ahead and just fill this up. This is going to be really good. It's going to be just like my mom's. Fill this up. One cool thing about this video is that there's like no pauses on this one. I really don't need to like pause it and restart it or anything like that. All right, so let's hope that's okay. So there's quite a bit left over. So that's my fault. I over prepped. It's okay. So now we're going to take our puff pastry, and I'm going to kind of cut it in little strips. All right, cut it in little strips. We'll start by laying a layer over the top. All right. I'm going to lay some layers. And we'll cut a little bit off on the edges. So it's, you know, I want this to look nice, you know. I mean, in honor of my mother, I would be so proud of me for doing this. I think she was really excited that I wanted to do her recipe. So she'll definitely watch this video, so I'm going to make sure I do this right. Puff pastry, I'm going to cut in little strips. All right, I'm going to trim a little bit of this off. So this is going to be really nice. That one's a little bit too short, so we'll put that one near the end. I'm going to fix that one. A little snag off this one, just a small piece. All right, so there's our, all right. And so what we can obviously do is we're gonna go the other way. We're gonna go crisscross. We're gonna kind of weave it underneath. So we'll cut across. All right, so we're gonna start in the middle. All right, so we'll just kind of put it underneath. We got two right here. It's puff pastry, Sammy, so it's easy to work with. All right, so there's that. Okay. And so we're gonna just do two of them on the sides. We just want to kind of create that kind of braided effect. And it's good because I'm running out of puff pastry. I don't have much more of this. I'm gonna turn this down. I can hear a bubbling over here. All right, so there's that. I'm gonna trim this up just a tad, make it kind of uniform with the other ones. That's a little bit too thick. I'm gonna cut the try straight up. It's not the end of the world. Okay, so this one's a little bit too long. We're gonna trim off a little bit of this. All right, so we're gonna kind of do. Let's see. We're gonna do this one. We're gonna go underneath the first one, the middle one. If I can get this thing to come up, and then our last one. Let's see. I want to kind of make it look like it's braided. And then the last one, and we're almost done. Do the same as in the outside. On the other side, we're gonna go under. The pastry is really easy to work with. All right, so kind of got your. I have to trim this off a little bit. Actually, what I should do is do this once I get the pie together. That's kind of I think the standard. So here's your pie. Here's your chicken pot pie. It's real pretty and nice and braided and everything. And so what I'm gonna probably do is I'm gonna stick this in the oven, 350 degrees for probably. First thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make sure I brush this with some butter. Make sure I brush the top of that with some butter. What that'll do, that will allow the browning to take place. The butter will actually brown the puff pastry. So anyway, this should really be nice. Okay, make sure I hit that with butter. Make sure I hit this with some nice butter. All right, and like I said, I'm gonna stick this in the oven for, we'll just say 15 minutes, probably longer. I mean, everything is cooked in it for the most part. You're really just cooking the pie crust at this point. I'm going to trim a little bit of this pie crust off the edge here, just so it's kind of go around the edge, just make sure there's no pie crust hanging off the edge. This is not going to be obviously restaurant quality or any type, but it is going to be really tasty. So that's the most part. Like I said, I love when my mother makes this. So anyway, I'll show you the final product on Instagram. So anyway, thanks for joining me, and sorry this video went a little bit longer than normal. So anyway, thank you. Have a good night.